The silent threat. Dr. Sarah Chen stood motionless before the massive holographic display at the Mars Deep Space Observatory, her breath caught in her throat. The quantum sensors had picked up something unprecedented, a massive gravitational distortion moving through the Kuiper belt, far beyond Neptune's orbit. But what made her blood run cold wasn't just the size of the anomaly, it was its purpose. "Director Walsh needs to see this immediately," she whispered to her assistant AI. The patterns were unmistakable. These weren't natural phenomena. They were engine signatures, hundreds of them, moving in perfect formation. Within hours, the highest levels of Earth's United Defense Council had convened in their underground chamber beneath Geneva. The room crackled with tension as Dr. Chen presented her findings to the assembled military and civilian leaders. The formation spans roughly 3 astronomical units, she explained, manipulating the holographic display with practiced gestures. Based on their current trajectory and speed, they'll reach Earth in approximately 18 months. She paused, letting the implications sink in. And they're actively trying to mask their approach. If it weren't for the new quantum array on Mars, we wouldn't have detected them at all. Admiral James Rodriguez, commander of Earth's combined space forces, leaned forward in his chair, hostile intent. "Their formation is consistent with military doctrine," Chen replied. "And the attempt at stealth suggests this isn't a diplomatic mission." The room erupted in urgent whispers. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel only 15 years ago, and while they'd made contact with several alien civilizations, most interactions had been cautious but peaceful. This was different. This was an invasion force. "What are our options?" The question came from Carolina Patel, the Council's civilian chairperson. Her dark eyes were sharp, focused. Admiral Rodriguez's response was immediate. "Project Hyperion." The mere mention of the classified project sent a ripple through the room. For the past decade, Earth's finest minds have been working in secret, combining recovered alien technology with human innovation to create something unprecedented, a warship that would redefine the very nature of space combat. "Hyperion isn't ready," protested General Zhang. "The quantum matrix is still unstable, and we haven't completed the full weapons trials." "Then we make it ready," Rodriguez countered. "We have 18 months. It's our best chance, maybe our only chance, of surviving what's coming." Dr. Chen watched the exchange with growing unease. She'd been one of the leading scientists on Project Hyperion, specifically working on its revolutionary propulsion system. The ship incorporated technology that pushed the boundaries of known physics, but it was dangerously unpredictable. "There's something else you need to see," she interrupted, pulling up another dataset. The energy signatures we're detecting. "They're like nothing we've encountered before. These ships are operating on principles we don't fully understand." The holographic display showed complex wave patterns that seemed to defy conventional physics. Whatever was coming wasn't just technologically advanced. It represented a fundamental leap in scientific understanding. Chairperson Patel stood, her decision made. "We activate Project Hyperion. Immediately. Dr. Chen, you'll work directly with Admiral Rodriguez to accelerate the development timeline. General Zhang, coordinate with our off-world colonies. We need every resource we can get. As of this moment, we're on a war footing." As the meeting adjourned, Dr. Chen found herself alone with Admiral Rodriguez in the chamber. The holographic display still showed the approaching armada, a silent threat creeping ever closer to Earth. "The Hyperion's core technology," Rodriguez began. "Can it be stabilized in time?" Chen ran complex calculations in her mind. "Maybe. But we'll need to push the boundaries of what we thought possible. The quantum matrix theories we're working with, we're writing new physics as we go." "Then that's what we'll do," Rodriguez replied, his voice firm. "Humanity didn't come this far to fall at the first real challenge. We've survived ice ages, plagues, our own worst impulses. We've reached the stars. And now we'll show whoever's coming that they made a serious mistake in underestimating us." As Chen left the chamber, Her mind was already racing with modifications to the Hyperion's designs. The ship represented humanity's greatest achievement, a fusion of determination, innovation, and the relentless drive to push beyond known limits. Now it would need to become something more. Humanity's shield, and if necessary, its sword. The next 18 months would change everything. But unknown to the approaching Armada, they weren't finding a primitive civilization unprepared for their arrival. They were about to encounter humanity at its finest, resourceful, innovative, and absolutely unwilling to go quietly into the night. In the depths of space, the alien fleet continued its silent approach, unaware that their carefully planned surprise had already been discovered. And in secret facilities across the solar system, humanity began to prepare its response, one that would send shockwaves through the galaxy and redefine humanity's place among the stars. Project Hyperion. The Hyperion shipyards, hidden within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, hummed with unprecedented activity. Quantum forges worked at maximum capacity, creating materials that shouldn't exist, while swarms of construction drones wove them into something extraordinary. At the center of this controlled chaos hung humanity's greatest achievement, the ESS Hyperion. Captain Maya Harrison stood at the observation deck, watching the massive vessel take shape. Even after 6 months of accelerated development, its sight still took her breath away. The ship's hull gleamed with a subtle iridescence, a side effect of the quantum-stabilized metallurgy that made it nearly indestructible. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Dr. Chen's voice came from behind. The scientist had barely slept in months, driving herself and her team to solve seemingly impossible problems. "We've just finished integrating the final phase of the quantum matrix." Maya turned to face her. "Will it hold?" "It has to," Chen replied, dark circles under her eyes betraying her exhaustion. "The principles we're working with. We're not just pushing the envelope, we're rewriting the laws of physics. The quantum matrix doesn't just bend spacetime, it manipulates the fundamental forces of the universe itself." The Hyperion represented a technological leap that should have taken decades to achieve. But with the alien armada now just 12 months from Earth, humanity had accomplished the impossible. The ship incorporated recovered alien technology, but its true power came from human innovation, solutions that no other species had considered possible. "Show me," Maya said, following Chen to the secure briefing room. The scientist pulled up detailed schematics of the ship's core systems. "The quantum matrix is just the beginning," Chen explained, highlighting different sections of the massive vessel. "We've developed weapons that target the fabric of space-time itself, shield systems that exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously, and the AI core." She paused, a slight smile playing on her lips. "Well, let's just say it makes everything else look primitive in comparison." Maya studied the schematics with intense focus. As the Hyperion's chosen captain, she needed to understand every aspect of her ship. The vessel was nearly twice the size of Earth's next largest warship, yet it could move with the agility of a fighter craft. Its power systems generated enough energy to rival a small star. "The aliens won't expect any of this," Maya noted. "Their stealth technology suggests they think we're primitive. They have no idea what they're walking into." "That's assuming everything works as designed," Chen cautioned. "We're operating on theoretical principles that we've barely begun to understand. The quantum matrix alone could tear the ship apart if the calibration is even slightly off." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Admiral Rodriguez's hologram appeared in the center of the room. "Ladies, we have a situation. Our deep space probes have detected increased activity from the alien fleet. They're accelerating their approach. New estimated arrival, 7 months." Maya felt her heart rate spike, but her voice remained steady. "Hyperion status." "That's why I'm calling," Rodriguez replied. "We're initiating final trials now. Captain Harrison, assemble your crew. Dr. Chen, I need confirmation that the ship's core systems are combat ready." The next few weeks passed in a blur of activity. Maya handpicked her crew from Earth's finest, not just the best pilots and engineers, but people who could think creatively, adapt to impossible situations. They would need every advantage they could get. The Hyperion's first full power test shook the entire asteroid base. As the quantum matrix activated, reality itself seemed to bend around the ship. The vessel disappeared from normal space, reappearing instantly 50 astronomical units away, a distance that should have taken hours to traverse even at maximum FTL speeds. "That's not supposed to be possible," one of Chen's assistants whispered, staring at the readings. "No," Chen agreed, a fierce pride in her voice. "It's not. That's what makes it so perfect." In her quarters that night, Maya reviewed the crew manifest one final time. 300 of humanity's finest, carrying the hopes and dreams of their entire species. The weight of command had never felt heavier. A message from Earth caught her attention, new long-range scans of the approaching fleet. As she studied the data, her jaw tightened. The alien vessels were massive, each one bristling with weapons that could reduce planets to ash. But they were also predictable, relying on brute force rather than innovation. "They think they're hunting prey," she murmured to herself. "They're about to discover they've awakened a force they never imagined." In the final days before the Hyperion's launch, Earth held its breath. The ship represented everything humanity had achieved. Their resilience, their creativity, their unwillingness to accept limitations. As Maya stood on her bridge for the first time as captain, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. "All systems online," her XO reported. "Quantum matrix stable. Weapons primed. The ship is ready, Captain." Maya took her command chair, her voice clear and confident, as she gave the order that would change the course of human history. "Take us out. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." The Hyperion rose from its birthing cradle, its quantum drives humming with power that defied conventional physics. As it accelerated away from the shipyards, its hull catching the light of distant stars, Maya knew they were about to rewrite the rules of warfare. The aliens thought they were facing a primitive species. Instead, they were about to encounter humanity's finest hour. First contact. The void between Neptune and Uranus stretched endless and dark, broken only by the distant glitter of stars. Here, at the edge of humanity's home system, the ESS Hyperion waited in perfect silence. Its quantum matrix hummed at minimal power, making the ship virtually undetectable against the background radiation of space. Captain Maya Harrison stood at the bridge's forward viewport, her expression carved from stone. The alien armada would arrive within hours, following the exact trajectory Dr. Chen had predicted months ago. But this time, humanity would not be the prey they expected. "All departments report ready, Captain," Commander Jack Torres, her XO, announced quietly. "Dr. Chen has the quantum matrix primed for full power activation." Maya nodded, her mind racing through the countless simulations they'd run. The Hyperion's capabilities were unprecedented, but they'd never been tested in actual combat. Everything they were about to attempt existed purely in theory until now. "Signal from deep space arrays," Lieutenant Park called from his sensor station. "Multiple contacts emerging from FTL. Configuration matches previous scans." "It's them." The bridge crew held their breath as the first alien ships appeared. They moved with impossible grace for their size, their hulls covered in patterns that seemed to shift and writhe in ways that hurt the human eye to observe. The lead vessel alone was nearly 3 times the size of the Hyperion. "Fascinating," Dr. Chen whispered from her station. "Their hull configuration, it's not just armor. They're manipulating gravitational fields at a quantum level. No wonder our conventional sensors had trouble detecting them." Maya watched as more ships emerged from FTL, taking up attack formations with practiced precision. The alien fleet moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. Their weapons remained powered down. They didn't expect any resistance this far out in the system. "Battle stations," Maya ordered, her voice steady. Initiate quantum matrix full power sequence. Weapons systems to standby. Let's introduce ourselves. The Hyperion systems surged to life, its revolutionary quantum drive creating ripples in the fabric of spacetime itself. Before the alien fleet could react, the human vessel simply ceased to exist in normal space, reappearing instantly in the heart of their formation. Multiple energy spikes from alien vessels, Park reported, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. They're trying to bring weapons online, but their targeting systems can't get a lock on us. The quantum field is working exactly as designed. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Open communications on all frequencies. Let's see if they're ready to talk. The alien response was immediate and violent. Energy beams lashed out from a dozen ships, but the Hyperion's quantum-shifted shields caused the attacks to pass harmlessly through space. The ship simultaneously occupied and didn't occupy. The laws of physics themselves seemed to bend around the human vessel. Their weapon systems are impressive, Chen noted, studying the readings. But they're relying on conventional physics. They have no defense against what we've developed. Maya keyed the ship-wide comm. All hands, prepare for combat maneuvers. Show them what humanity can do. The Hyperion moved like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. It existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making it impossible to target effectively. Its weapons, when finally unleashed, didn't just damage enemy ships. They temporarily rewrote the laws of physics in localized areas, causing alien vessels to partially phase out of normal spacetime. Multiple alien ships breaking formation, Torres reported with barely contained excitement. They're falling back, trying to regroup. Captain, I think we've scared them. The alien fleet's precise formations had dissolved into chaos. Their attacks, when they came, were uncoordinated and ineffective. For perhaps the first time in their history, they faced an enemy that didn't just match their technology, but operated on principles they couldn't understand. New signal from the alien flagship, Park announced. They're requesting communication. Maya straightened in her command chair. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Put them through. The alien commander appeared on the main view screen. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but seemed to shift and change, as if reality itself couldn't quite decide how to perceive it. When it spoke, its words were translated by the Hyperion's AI in real time. What are you? The alien demanded, its tone mixing fear with fascination. No species at your development stage should possess such technology. It defies all known laws of progression. We are humanity, Maya replied simply. And you've made a serious miscalculation. We don't follow your rules or your limitations. We'd make our own. The alien commander seemed to study her for a long moment. Our scans indicated a primitive civilization, barely capable of interplanetary travel. How did you achieve this level of advancement without detection? You saw what you expected to see, Maya explained. That was your first mistake. Your second was assuming that technological progression follows a predictable path. Humanity doesn't work that way. We innovate. We imagine possibilities that others claim are impossible. And then we make them real. The silence that followed was heavy with implications. The alien fleet, which had arrived expecting an easy conquest, now faced something unprecedented. A species that had developed along paths they had never considered possible. The galaxy will need to reevaluate its understanding of humanity, the alien commander finally stated. Perhaps there is much we could learn from each other. Maya's response was firm but diplomatic. We're always open to peaceful exchange of knowledge. But remember this, humanity will not be conquered, subjugated, or controlled. What you've seen today is just a fraction of what we're capable of. Remember that before you or anyone else considers threatening Earth again. As the communication ended, Maya could feel the shift in the galaxy's power structure. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as another primitive species to be conquered, but as a force that defied conventional understanding. The Hyperion hadn't just won a battle, It had rewritten the rules of what was possible. "Orders, Captain," Torres asked quietly. Maya looked out at the alien fleet, now maintaining a respectful distance from the Hyperion. "Send word to Earth. Tell them that humanity has made its point. And then, let's escort our new friends to a proper diplomatic meeting. I think it's time the galaxy learned exactly who they're dealing with." The battle for tomorrow. The great hall of the Lunar Diplomatic Center buzzed with tension as representatives from Earth faced the delegation from the alien fleet. Through the vast crystal dome overhead, the blue marble of Earth hung like a jewel against the black velvet of space, a constant reminder of what was at stake. Captain Maya Harrison stood beside Admiral Rodriguez, watching as Dr. Chen explained the basic principles behind the Hyperion's quantum matrix technology to a group of utterly fascinated alien scientists. The beings who had introduced themselves as the Arcturi seemed unable to process how humanity had developed such advanced technology without following their civilization's established technological progression. "It's not just about the technology," Chen was saying, her hands moving animatedly as she spoke. "It's about how we approach problems. Humanity doesn't just ask how. We ask why not." The lead Arcturi scientist, a being called Vexthor, whose form seemed to shimmer between states of matter, leaned forward with all four of its sensory clusters focused intently. "But the quantum principles you've employed, they violate fundamental laws of physics as we understand them." "No," Chen corrected gently. "They violate fundamental laws of physics as you understand them. We simply found another way to look at the universe." Maya noticed Admiral Rodriguez hiding a smile. The Arcturi had arrived expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they'd encountered a civilization that had developed along completely different lines, achieving things their rigid technological hierarchy had deemed impossible. "Your ship," Vexthor continued, "the Hyperion. Its capabilities exceed anything in our records. How did you maintain quantum coherence at such a large scale? How did you stabilize the matrix without causing a cascade failure?" "The same way we achieved everything else," Maya interjected. "We ignored everyone who said it couldn't be done and found a way to do it anyway." The diplomatic discussions continued for hours, but Maya could sense a shift in the Arcturi's attitude. The initial fear and hostility had given way to genuine curiosity. They weren't just negotiating peace terms anymore. They were witnessing the emergence of something unprecedented in their understanding of civilizational development. During a brief recess, Maya found herself in a private conversation with the Arcturi fleet commander, Zarkax, whose form seemed more stable than his companions, but still defied easy description. "In all our history of expansion," Zarkax admitted, "we have never encountered a species like yours. Our scientists are still trying to understand how your ship accomplished what we saw." "Perhaps that's the problem," Maya suggested. "You've been looking at the galaxy through a single lens, expecting every civilization to follow the same path. Humanity has always forged its own way." Zarkax's form rippled in what Maya had learned was their equivalent of thoughtful contemplation. "We believed we understood the natural order of technological progression. Your existence challenges everything we thought we knew." "Good," Maya replied firmly. "Challenge is how we grow. It's how we learn. It's how we become better than what we are." The discussion was interrupted by an urgent message from the Hyperion's eye. New data was streaming in from the quantum sensors Dr. Chen had established throughout the solar system. The readings showed something massive approaching from deep space, far larger than the Arcturi fleet. "More of your people?" Maya asked Zarkax, but the alien commander's form had become completely still, a sign of shock or fear. "No," Zarkax whispered. "The Nexus. They must have detected our failure and come to investigate." "Captain Harrison, you don't understand. The Nexus. They enforce the natural order. They ensure that younger races develop according to established patterns. What you've done here, they will see it as an abomination." Maya's expression hardened. "Then they'll learn the same lesson you did. Humanity doesn't bow to anyone's rules but our own." The next few hours were a flurry of activity. The Hyperion was readied for combat, its quantum matrix humming with power. But this time, something had changed. The Arcturian fleet, which had faced them in battle just days ago, now moved to stand alongside them. "Your methods may be unconventional," Zarkax explained, "but you've shown us that there are other paths to advancement. If the Nexus cannot accept this truth, then perhaps it is they who need to evolve." As the massive Nexus ships began to emerge from deep space, Maya stood on the Hyperion's bridge, a small smile playing at her lips. Earth had not only survived its first major galactic crisis, it had turned potential conquerors into allies. And now, as an even greater challenge approached, humanity stood ready to once again prove that the impossible was merely a temporary inconvenience. "All hands to battle stations," Maya ordered, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's determination. "Let's show the galaxy that the rules of the game have changed. Permanently." The Hyperion's quantum drives powered up, its revolutionary technology preparing to once again defy the established laws of physics. But this time, it wouldn't fight alone. A new alliance had been forged in the crucible of conflict, one that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. As human and Arcturian ships moved into formation together, Maya couldn't help but think that this was humanity's true strength. Not just their technology or their innovation, but their ability to turn enemies into allies, to show others that there were always new possibilities waiting to be discovered. The battle for tomorrow was about to begin, and humanity was ready to lead the charge into a future that no one had imagined possible. A new dawn. The combined fleet of human and Arcturian ships hung in formation at the edge of the solar system, facing the massive Nexus vessels that had emerged from deep space. The Hyperion led the line, its quantum matrix generating ripples in reality that made the space around it shimmer with possibility. "They're broadcasting," Lieutenant Park announced from his station. "All frequencies." Captain Maya Harrison straightened in her command chair. "Put them through." The beam that appeared on the main view screen was unlike anything Maya had ever seen. It seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, its form a complex geometric pattern that hurt the mind to observe. When it spoke, its voice resonated on multiple frequencies simultaneously. "You have violated the natural order," the Nexus entity stated. "This sector's development must proceed according to established patterns. Your aberrant technology will be contained." Maya exchanged glances with Dr. Chen, who stood at her science station monitoring the quantum matrix readings. The scientist gave a slight nod. Everything was ready. "With respect," Maya replied, her voice steady, "we reject your authority to make that decision. The galaxy doesn't belong to you, and progress doesn't follow a single path. Your species is young," the Nexus entity responded. "You cannot comprehend the chaos you risk by developing technologies beyond your assigned progression level. Submit to containment or face elimination." Maya's response was to stand from her chair, facing the alien entity directly. "Let me tell you something about humanity. Throughout our history, every time someone has told us something was impossible, we've taken it as a challenge. Every time someone has tried to contain us, to limit us, we've broken free. We don't follow paths, we forge them." The Nexus ships began to move, their massive forms distorting space around them. But they weren't facing a primitive species anymore. They were facing humanity at its finest, backed by allies who had learned to see beyond their own limitations. "All ships, execute Pattern Omega," Maya ordered. The combined fleet moved with perfect coordination, implementing battle plans that had been developed in mere hours, plans that broke every conventional rule of space combat. The Hyperion led the charge, its quantum matrix technology allowing it to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Arcturian ships, guided by human tactical innovations, struck from angles that should have been impossible. The Nexus fleet's superior size and power meant nothing against enemies they couldn't predict or understand. "Their shields are adapting," Commander Torres reported. "They're trying to analyze our attack patterns." "Then let's show them something new," Maya replied. Dr. Chen, Initiate the quantum cascade. Chen's fingers flew over her console. Quantum cascade initiating. Captain, this has never been tested at full scale. Humanity doesn't progress by playing it safe, Maya reminded her. Do it. The Hyperion's quantum matrix pulsed with energy, creating a cascade effect that rippled through space-time itself. The Nexus ships, bound by their rigid understanding of physics, found their own technology turning against them, as reality itself seemed to rebel against their presence. Impossible. The Nexus entity's voice boomed across all frequencies. Your level of civilization cannot possess such capabilities. That's your fundamental mistake, Maya replied. You think you can categorize and control how species develop, but reality isn't a ladder to be climbed one rung at a time. It's an ocean of possibilities, waiting to be explored. The battle raged across dimensions, with human ingenuity and Arcturian adaptability proving more than a match for Nexus power. Ships phased in and out of normal space, weapons fire bent around quantum fields, and the laws of physics themselves seemed to be merely guidelines rather than absolute rules. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the Nexus fleet withdrew. Their perfectly ordered formation was in shambles, their certainty in their own superiority shattered by encounters with technology that shouldn't have been possible. They're sending a final transmission, Park announced. The Nexus entity appeared one last time, its form somehow less certain than before. You have demonstrated capabilities that defy our understanding. Perhaps our understanding of progress was incomplete. It's not just about the technology, Maya replied. It's about imagination, about daring to think differently. Every species has that potential. They just need the freedom to explore it. In the days that followed, the galaxy experienced a fundamental shift. The story of how humanity's most advanced ship had defied the established order spread rapidly. Other species, long contained by the Nexus' rigid development hierarchy, began to explore new paths of advancement. The Arcturian became humanity's strongest allies, their combined scientific knowledge leading to breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. The Hyperion's quantum matrix technology became the foundation for a new understanding of physics, one that recognized possibility rather than limitation. 1 month after the battle, Maya stood in the Lunar Diplomatic Center alongside representatives from dozens of species, watching as Earth was formally recognized as a center of galactic innovation. The Hyperion's success had done more than just defend humanity. It had shown the galaxy a new way forward. We've changed everything, haven't we? Dr. Chen asked quietly, standing beside her. Maya nodded, watching as human and alien scientists eagerly shared ideas and theories. We showed them that the impossible is just something that hasn't been tried yet. That progress doesn't have to follow a predetermined path. And now, Chen wondered, what's next for humanity? Maya smiled, her eyes on the stars visible through the center's dome. Now we do what humanity does best. We explore, we innovate, we imagine new possibilities, and we show the galaxy that this is just the beginning. The Hyperion remained in orbit above Earth, its quantum matrix a constant reminder that humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had emerged as a force that would forever change the course of galactic history, not through overwhelming power or ancient technology, but through the uniquely human traits of innovation, determination, and the unwavering refusal to accept limitations. As new ships were built incorporating human innovations, as other species began to break free from their prescribed development paths, the galaxy entered a new age of discovery and advancement. And at the heart of it all was humanity, proving that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't technology or weapons, but the simple ability to look at the impossible and ask, why not?
The Great Silence, the emergency session of the Galactic Council, had been called for the first time in over 2 centuries. Representatives from 47 different species filled the massive crystalline chamber that orbited the neutral world of Kepler 442b. The air thrummed with tension as translators worked overtime to to convert the babel of alien languages into coherent meaning. Ambassador Crix of the Zephyrian Federation stood at the central podium, his forearms gesturing emphatically as he addressed the assembly. His pale blue skin had taken on a darker hue, a clear sign of distress among his kind. The vertical slits that served as his eyes narrowed as he spoke. Honored delegates, we gather today to address a crisis unlike any we have faced. 6 months, 12 days, and 7 hours ago, all communication with the human territories ceased completely, not gradually, not partially, but instantaneously across their entire civilization. A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. The crystalline entity known as Lumina pulsed with soft amber light, her thoughts resonating through the translation matrix. The humans were among our most active members. Their rapid advancement in the past 50 years was remarkable, even concerning to some. Commander Voss of the Reptilian Defense Corps hissed softly, his scaled hide shifting from green to a warning yellow, perhaps too remarkable. Their expansion rate exceeded all projections. They went from a single world to controlling 17 star systems in less than a century. No species achieves such growth without consequence. Crix raised one of his upper arms for silence. The facts remain unchanged regardless of our opinions. The humans had colonies on 43 worlds, deep space stations in over 100 systems, and their merchant fleets were among the most far-reaching in known space. All of it gone silent at exactly the same moment. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of sounds, chittering, warbling, harmonic resonances, and guttural growls filled the air as dozens of species voiced their theories simultaneously. Some spoke of human treachery, others of cosmic catastrophe, and still others of technological transcendence. Lumina's crystalline form brightened, cutting through the noise like a beacon. Her ancient voice carried the weight of millennia. In my 3,000 years, I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have witnessed plagues that consumed entire star clusters and wars that left nebulae barren of life. But I have never seen a complete disappearance like this. When civilizations die, they leave traces, ruins, debris fields, radiation signatures. Something. The human territories show none of these markers. Then where are they? Demanded Voss, his reptilian features twisting with suspicion. A civilization of 12 billion beings across dozens of worlds doesn't simply vanish without a trace. Either they're hiding something, or something has hidden them. Crix activated the chamber's central display, showing a three-dimensional map of known space. The human territories appeared as a cluster of red dots, each one marking a world or station that had gone dark. Our long-range sensors detect no destruction, no debris fields, no signs of conflict. The infrastructure remains intact. Orbital platforms still maintain their positions. Agricultural satellites continue their automated functions, but there are no life signs anywhere. An insectoid delegate from the hive worlds clicked her mandibles rapidly. Perhaps they applauded themselves into their computers. Some species choose digital existence over biological limitations. Our scans would have detected such massive data transfers, Crix replied. There's no increased computational activity anywhere in their space. If anything, processing power has decreased significantly. Young Ambassador Telix from the Aquarian depths raised a webbed hand. What about their ships? Surely their merchant vessels and exploration fleets weren't all in human space when this occurred. That's perhaps the most disturbing aspect, Crix. said, manipulating the display to show shipping lanes and known fleet positions. Every human vessel, regardless of location, went silent at the exact same moment. We tracked 17 merchant ships that were in our space at the time. All of them simply stopped responding to communications and began heading back toward human territory at maximum speed. Did anyone try to intercept them? Voss asked, his combat instincts clearly engaged. The Altarian Defense Force attempted to board a human cargo hauler. The ship's automated defenses activated, but instead of attacking, it broadcast a single message on repeat. "We're sorry. Please understand, we're trying to protect you." Then it destroyed itself. A chill seemed to settle over the chamber. The implications of that message sent waves of unease through every delegate present. Species that had known the humans as friendly, traders, enthusiastic explorers, and innovative problem solvers now faced the possibility that something had turned them into a threat. Lumina's crystalline form dimmed as she processed this information. Self-destruction to avoid capture suggests they were compelled by something beyond normal reasoning. Fear can drive beings to desperate measures, but this level of coordination across an entire species indicates something more systematic, or more sinister, Voss added grimly. What if they weren't destroyed? What if they were converted, absorbed, made into something else entirely? The possibility hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others activated personal shields or defensive measures. The idea that the humans might have become some kind of threat was almost too terrible to consider. Crix continued his briefing, highlighting key data points. Our analysis teams have identified several anomalies. First, just before the silence began, we detected a massive spike in quantum communications throughout human space. The signal was encoded using protocols we've never seen before. Second, deep space monitoring stations recorded gravitational fluctuations consistent with large-scale fleet movements, but no ships were visible on any sensors. They could be using some form of stealth technology, suggested a delegate from the Silicon Collective. Human innovation often exceeded our expectations. Perhaps they developed cloaking capabilities beyond our detection methods. Third, Crix continued, and most concerning, we've detected periodic energy signatures emanating from human space. These pulses occur every 72 hours and seem to originate from multiple points simultaneously. The energy pattern doesn't match any known human technology. Commander Voss stood, his imposing reptilian form casting shadows across the chamber. Delegates, we're dealing with an unknown threat of unprecedented scope. I propose we establish a quarantine around all former human territories until we understand what we're facing. Quarantine an entire species worth of territory. Telix protested. That's nearly a fifth of explored space. The economic disruption alone would be catastrophic. Better economic disruption than species extinction, Voss replied coldly. If the humans have been compromised by some external force, we need to assume that force is hostile until proven otherwise. Lumina pulsed thoughtfully. Perhaps we should consider a different approach. If the humans are in distress, abandoning them would violate every principle the Galactic Council was founded upon. I propose we send investigation fleets to human space. Small, well-defended groups that can gather information without presenting a significant threat or target. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some species wanted immediate military action, others called for complete isolation, and still others advocated for peaceful contact attempts. Finally, Crix called for a formal vote. All those in favor of organized investigation missions to human space. 23 delegates voted in favor. 20 voted against. 4 abstained. The motion carries, Crix announced. We'll organize 3 investigation fleets, each composed of representatives from different species. Their mission will be to determine the fate of humanity and assess any potential threats. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, Lumina approached Crix. Her crystalline form had taken on a deep blue hue, indicating profound concern. "You're worried," Crix observed. "In all my years, I've learned to trust certain instincts. Something about this situation feels wrong, but not in the way we might expect. The humans I knew were curious, resourceful, and deeply committed to protecting those they cared about. If they chose silence, they had a reason. You think they're protecting us from something? I think we're about to find out just how far humans will go to keep their friends safe," Lumina replied, her light dimming as she contemplated the possibilities. 3 weeks later, the first investigation fleet departed for human space. It consisted of 12 ships from 8 different species, equipped with the most advanced sensors and defensive systems available. Their destination was the Sol system, humanity's birth world and the heart of their civilization. None of the delegates could have imagined what they would find there. The truth was far more extraordinary and terrifying than any of their theories had suggested. Humanity hadn't been destroyed, converted, or compromised. They had made a choice that would redefine what it meant to be human in a galaxy full of dangers beyond imagination. The investigation fleet transmitted their final automated beacon as they crossed into human space. The message was simple. Approaching Sol system, all systems nominal, will report findings in 72 hours. That was the last anyone heard from them for nearly a month. The Watchers revealed the second investigation fleet approached the Sol system with extreme caution. The fate of the first fleet remained unknown, their ships having vanished as completely as the humans themselves. Captain Zethis of the Altarian Navy commanded the lead vessel, a heavily armed exploration cruiser designed to survive almost any conceivable threat. "Sensor readings?" Zethis inquired, her voice carrying the natural harmony of her species. "All human orbital installations appear intact but inactive," reported her science officer, a young Zephyrian named Corix. "No energy signatures, no communications, no movement. It's like looking at a perfectly preserved museum." The fleet consisted of 8 ships this time, smaller and more maneuverable than the previous expedition. Each vessel represented a different member species of the Council, and each carried specialized equipment designed to solve the mystery of human space. "What about Earth itself?" Zethis asked. "Remarkable," Corix breathed, his voice filled with wonder and concern. "The planet appears completely dark on the night side. No city lights, no industrial signatures, no atmospheric traffic. But the continents are still green, the oceans are clean, and the atmosphere remains perfectly balanced for human life. Through the viewports, Earth hung in space like a jewel, beautiful and serene. But the absence of any signs of civilization made it appear almost ghostly. No lights twinkled on the dark hemisphere, no spacecraft moved between the planet and its moon, and no radio chatter filled the electromagnetic spectrum. "Captain," called out Commander Voss from his ship, "my sensors are detecting something unusual. From Luna, there's a faint energy signature, very weak but definitely artificial." "All ships maintain defensive formation," Zethis ordered. "We'll investigate the lunar anomaly first." As they approached Earth's moon, the mystery deepened. The human lunar colonies were visible through telescopes, their domes and structures intact, but like everything else in human space, they showed no signs of activity. "Wait," Corix said suddenly, his voice rising with excitement. "I'm detecting atmosphere inside the lunar facilities, and there's a very faint heat signature in the primary research complex." The landing party consisted of 6 beings from different species, each equipped with environmental suits and emergency translation devices. They made their way to the airlock of Lunar Research Station Alpha, the largest human facility on the moon's surface. The airlock cycled normally, accepting their override codes and pressurizing the chamber. When the inner door opened, they found themselves in a corridor that looked as if it had been abandoned only moments before. Coffee cups sat on desks with liquids still inside. Workstations displayed active screens, and personal items were scattered about as if their owners had simply stepped away for a brief moment. "This is impossible," whispered Telix, the young Aquarian delegate who had joined the mission. "These facilities have been dark for over 6 months, but everything looks like it was occupied yesterday." They made their way deeper into the facility, following the energy signature that had drawn them there. It led to a section of the station that hadn't appeared on any of the original architectural plans. Hidden behind what looked like a storage area was a sophisticated command center filled with technology that surpassed anything the humans had previously. Demonstrated at the center of the room sat a single human. Dr. Elena Vasquez looked up as they entered, her dark eyes showing no surprise at their arrival. She was a woman in her 50s, with graying hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and wearing a simple blue jumpsuit. Despite being alone in an abandoned lunar facility for months, she appeared healthy, alert, and completely calm. "You're earlier than we expected," she said in perfect galactic standard, rising from her chair. "But I suppose that's good. We don't have much time left." The alien delegation stared at her in stunned silence. After months of mystery and speculation, finding a single human calmly working in a hidden control room was the last thing they had anticipated. "Dr. Vasquez, I presume," Zethis said finally, checking the human personnel files they had brought along. "You're listed as the station's chief xenobiology researcher." Among other things, Alina replied with a tired smile. "Please, sit down. You're going to want to be comfortable for this explanation." As the aliens settled into chairs that had clearly been prepared for them, Alina activated a holographic display that filled the center of the room. It showed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy, but with features none of them had seen before. 6 months ago, our deep space monitoring networks detected something approaching from outside our galaxy, Alina began. Something that had consumed everything in its path for the past 1,000,000 years. The hologram shifted to show a vast dark region at the galaxy's edge, slowly expanding inward like a cancer eating away at the stars themselves. "We call it the Collective," Alina continued. "It's not a species in any sense we understand. It's more like a cosmic force that converts matter, energy, and consciousness into extensions of itself. Every civilization it encounters becomes part of its mass, their knowledge and capabilities added to its ever-growing intelligence. Luminous, crystalline form, which had been part of the delegation, pulsed with deep concern. How long do we have? At its current rate of expansion, approximately 18 months before it reaches the core worlds of the Galactic Council, Alina replied matter-of-factly. Less if it accelerates, which our models suggest it will as it encounters more advanced civilizations. Then why didn't you warn us? Voss demanded, his reptilian nature making him direct even in the face of existential horror. Why disappear? Why leave us defenseless? Elena's expression grew sad but determined. Because warning, you would have doomed us all. The collective doesn't just consume civilizations randomly. It's drawn to certain types of activity. Specifically, it's attracted to species that demonstrate rapid technological advancement, aggressive expansion, and large-scale communication networks. The implications hit the delegation like a physical blow. They looked around at each other, representing exactly the type of galactic civilization Alina had just described. The moment the collective detects a spacefaring civilization, it changes course to intercept them, Alina continued. Our analysis showed that if we had revealed the threat to the Galactic Council, the massive communication networks, emergency fleet movements, and technological development programs would have acted like a beacon. The collective would have accelerated its approach by a factor of 10. So you sacrificed your entire civilization to buy us time? Telix asked, his aquatic features showing expressions of awe and horror. We didn't sacrifice anything, Alina said firmly. We went dark. Every human colony, every ship, every installation, shut down all non-essential communications and energy signatures. We've spent the last 6 months living quietly, using minimal technology, and preparing. Preparing for what? Zethis asked. Alina smiled, and for the first time since they'd met her, it was a genuinely hopeful expression. To fight back, she manipulated the holographic display to show the current state of human space. What had appeared empty to alien sensors was revealed to be teeming with activity. Stealth ships moved between systems, hidden installations worked around the clock, and a vast network of concealed communication relays kept the entire human civilization connected without broadcasting their presence to the galaxy at large. We've been watching you, Alina continued. Every council session, every fleet movement, every scientific breakthrough. We've been protecting you from detection while developing countermeasures against the collective. What kind of countermeasures? Voss asked, his military mind immediately focusing on the practical aspects. The collective converts matter and energy, but it has one weakness. It can't process certain types of quantum interference patterns. We've developed weapons that create cascading quantum disruptions. In testing, they've proven effective at breaking down the collective's control structures. Alina activated another display showing technical schematics that were far beyond anything the humans had previously shared with the galaxy. The designs incorporated principles of physics that some species had only theorized about. How is this possible? Corix asked, studying the displays with fascination. Human technology wasn't this advanced 6 months ago. Desperation is a powerful motivator, Alina replied. When you know you're fighting for the survival of not just your own species, but everyone you care about, you find ways to transcend your limitations. We've made more scientific progress in the last 6 months than in the previous century. But surely you can't fight this thing alone, Lumina observed, her ancient wisdom recognizing the magnitude of the threat. You're right, Alina agreed. We can't, but we can give the galaxy a fighting chance. The question is whether you're willing to trust us. The alien delegation exchanged glances, each processing the enormity of what they'd learned. Humanity hadn't abandoned them or been destroyed by some unknown force. They had voluntarily entered a state of technological hibernation to protect their friends while secretly preparing for a war that would determine the fate of all life in the galaxy. What do you need from us? Zethis asked, speaking for the group. Officially, nothing. You need to return to the Council and convince them to maintain minimal communication protocols, and avoid any massive technological initiatives for the next year. Tell them humanity is dealing with an internal crisis and requests privacy while we resolve it. And unofficially, Elena's smile widened. Unofficially, we need volunteers. Individuals who are willing to work with us in secret, helping to prepare defenses and weapons that might save us all. It won't be easy, and there's no guarantee we'll succeed. But it's the only chance we have. Over the next several hours, Elena showed them the scope of humanity's hidden preparations. Entire fleets of stealth ships equipped with quantum disruptor, weapons, massive defensive installations hidden within asteroid fields and planetary rings, research facilities where human and alien scientists worked together to understand and counter the collective's capabilities. Most remarkably, they learned that humanity had been secretly recruiting volunteers from every species in the galaxy. Individuals who had noticed the patterns, who had sensed something was wrong, and who had chosen to disappear from their normal lives to join the fight. How many? Voss asked, clearly awed by the scale of the operation. 12,000 from 43 different species, Elena replied proudly. Turns out, when faced with extinction, sentient beings have a remarkable capacity to work together. As the briefing concluded, each member of the alien delegation faced a choice. They could return to the council with the official story and wait to see if humanity's plan would work, or they could stay and join the fight. In the end, all 6 chose to stay. 3 months later, when the collective finally arrived at the galaxy's edge, it encountered something it had never faced before in a million years of conquest. Not a panicked civilization broadcasting distress calls, not scattered resistance that could be easily overcome, but a united galaxy fighting with weapons specifically designed to destroy it. The war that followed would be remembered for millennia as the moment when the galaxy's species truly learned what it meant to stand together. And at the heart of that unity were the humans, the species that had been willing to disappear completely in order to save everyone they cared about. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their courage. It was their unwavering belief that some things are worth any sacrifice, and that no one fights alone when the stakes are the survival of everything you love.